my biggest goal is like you watch 1, you watch 2, you watch 3, you watch 4, and hopefully you love them all. But like hopefully you see the evolution of me and the crew and I, my stunt team, Keanu, that we learned something. We tried to not make the same mistakes. We tried to get a little better, and we tried to expand in ways that are interesting.
Chad, here we are again, man. Thank you so much for your time. Like I said, John Wick, the franchise, every film just exceeds the last one in such an incredible way, not just with action, but also with the camera work, which is brilliant.
Thank you.
One thing I love about John Wick is the way that we explore his past is really through his relationships. Can you talk to me about exploring John Wick's past through his relationships rather than flashbacks?
Yeah, no, I think it's just a narrative style or storytelling technique, I guess you could say. But you kind of hit it right off the bat. I mean, you said it better than I could. You explore John Wick's past through his relationships. So, the first movie is always the best example, because you killed his dog. Oh, yeah, Michael Nyqvist gave the oh. And, we didn't know if that was going to work. We just decided one of the things we had never really loved about action movies, that Dave Leitch, myself, and Keanu on the first Wick were like, look, we hate exposition. Do we have to do exposition? Because they really, believe me, in the original script, there was a scene where people explained John Wick's past, and we're like, that's the first thing that's got to go, and we've kind of lived by that. First of all, we always thought there'd be just one, so we didn't think we'd have to sustain it. So we're like, well, we're trying to be new filmmakers and just go, fuck it, no more exposition. And now we're like, wow, I really wish maybe we kept the little exposition. Because you have to keep coming new ways to do it.
You throw us right into the world, and immediately, I'm so intrigued by everything about it. Now, you've done all of these John Wick movies, and like we said, this is some of the best action in cinema, but also the camera work is innovative and phenomenal. Can you talk to me about yourself as a director and how you've progressed throughout your career in these 4 movies?
Yeah, I guess the best way I can say it is we all try to get better every day. Like the more articles you write, the better you get, I hope, right? You don't go the other way. You try to go. And I think in the middle of you writing articles, you're reading books, and every little thing inspires you, right? You'll watch somebody's documentary, you'll read somebody else's review, and you go, oh, that's cool, maybe I should, and you expand.
Right.
You get better during your writing process, but it's also the in-between where you really expand because you get more inspired. It's no different from us. So the first one is my first time directing. So you have all these grandiose ideas, but you have a limited budget and time. So you try to make a statement, you try to be artistically, you try to have some kind of authorship over it, right? Your style, whatever your style is. But in your first film, you take a stab, you know that you want anamorphic, you want lens flares, you want a certain color palette, you want to break the mold a little bit, but at the same time, you got no time, no money, but you're trying to do a Gene Kelly movie, with martial arts. Right? So the second one, I had more money, more time, so I wanted to do a rock opera. So you have a big concert in Caracalla Bass in Rome, and now you're exploring yourself. And it was probably around the third film where I had taken time to really, I kind of understand, wow, directing is a little different than I thought it was. I got to get better. I look at the counter, if we do a third one, I got to get really better. How do you do this? I got to be better at storytelling. I got to write this thing better. And I'm still I'm a little weak in second acts. I got a great opener, and I got this, I can end them good, but God, my second act is a little squishy. What is John Wick really doing? He's killing people. That's not good enough.
Right.
So you come to the fourth one. Now I've spent 7 years of directing John Wicks and researching storytelling and reading as much as I can and trying things. All right, now for the first time when I go into 4, I feel like, I've got a story. Okay, I kind of got my head around storytelling now. So to answer your question, it's a scale, right? It's a learning process. And you see how hard, let's take John Wick 3, for example. You see how hard my stunt team works. You see how hard Keanu works. It's all hanging on him, right? And I push my crew and all this stuff. Now I've got John Wick 4. I've got this story that I really want to tell in a narrative way that I want to tell it. And I need 100 days and nights. And I'm going to push Keanu at 57 even more than I've ever pushed him before. So how do you think I have to look myself in the mirror and go, well, if I'm not better, if I'm not doing this, I'm going to let my crew and my cast down. So you really take that beat and go, okay, I got to get my shit together. You watch these films and you break down, you really be honest with yourself, what you're good at, what you're not good at, And I realized what I was not good at. And Keanu and I and the crew realized what we were really successful at and what we were lacking. And everybody went, okay, hands in, let's promise to get better at what we're not good at. So, what do I suck at? Okay, I got to improve my narrative. I got to improve my storytelling. what's more interesting. It's not just coming up with a gag or a camera angle. It's just making yourself better. So if I get better, Keanu gets better, the crew gets better, the movie gets better. It's that fucking simple. If you rely on a bigger explosion or a bigger gag or some funky camera angle, that'll sustain you for a beat.
Sure.
But is that, that's an amuse-bouche. That's not a meal.
Right.
So you got to become a better chef and get better product to make a better meal, and that's just the attitude we took in four.
Man, thank you for that insight. But look, all four of these films have been incredible. So I mean, like I said, they just keep getting better and better. Now, for fan, look, I'm one of the fans of John Wick, and I love the lore. Like, I love the world building. For fans that are fans of that type of stuff, what can they look forward to in John Wick 4?
Hopefully, what we were just talking about, it's evolution. It's Keanu wanting to give more and expand more.
Sure.
It's not that we get bored, but we want to expand. Like, we're audience members too. Like, we're trying to make the movie that we'd like to see.
Yeah.
Like, you want to see ninjas on motorcycles? I do. I want to see some Greek myth and modern day Lord of the Rings fantasy-esque world where there's duels and there's
Yes.
from kung fu. We're doing brands on our arms. Like, I want to know what a crest is. I want to know what this ritual. Like, we love etiquette and ritual and all these little tidbits. And plus, we get to drive 71 Barracudas through traffic. Like, I'll go see that movie.
Oh yeah.
So we make these huge lists in John Wick about what we love about movies, what we'd like to see, and then we try to make a story around it.
So I'm going to try to dance around this question as spoiler-free as I possibly can. I really love that final scene. I think it was really beautiful. It felt to me almost like a samurai film.
Very Zatoichi.
Yeah.
Very Kurosawa.
Yeah, exactly. What inspired that?
Zatoichi and Kurosawa.
Is it directly, right?
I'm a huge fan of westerns and samurai films. How can you not
Right.
see it in the movies, right? So whether it's Leone or John Ford, or whether it's Kurosawa or Satoru Katsu or Toshiro Mifune or any of these, Clint Eastwood, John Wayne, whatever you want to say, you can see, but if you go back to the early John Wicks, there's always an etiquette. There's ceremony. I believe in ceremony and etiquette and rituals. That's why you see so many crests and markers and things. There's something interesting to me about that. So to make it so personal as has two friends duel for different reasons, by proxy or by first person, it's like, okay, that's a dilemma for me. That's the most existential dilemma you can have. Have someone you care about, and it's choice. It's
Right.
either I have to die to let him live or live to let him die. How do I feel about both? But then you add in the X thing, I'm living for myself. John has to make a choice if it's not about him and Kane, it's about Kane living for something more important than either of them.
Right.
So that's an interesting dilemma to figure out. Like, that was not an easy thing on paper to go, oh yeah, it'll all make sense, but how do you read into that? You can't just say, I'm going to, live or die for your reason. But I think you get that in the scene, and that's the interesting thing to really put together. And that's what, it was that one little piece of the puzzle that pretty much locked Keanu and I, and again, spoiler free, you can't just go, I'm going to kill off my lead. I'm going to not kill off my lead. I'm going to be subversive and make you think I killed off my lead. That's not the point. The point is choice.
Right.
John made a choice to do something bigger than himself or to save someone else that was not even in the movie, right? That's interesting to me.
Now, I know originally correct me if I'm wrong, John Wick 4 and 5 were originally supposed to shoot back to back. What would John Wick 5 kind of look like now?
Oh, God, to be honest with you, I don't know. And I think, not to cause any weird clickbait or anything like that, the studio first came to us and go, look, we would like to explore the option of doing 4 and 5 together. And the dauntingness of that at first is a little intimidating and a little bit like, wow, what were you thinking? But it's also incredibly flattering when you're in an industry where everyone's trying to get something made and you're trying to get your wacky ideas made and somebody to listen and given a shot, to have people come to you and go, please make more of what you do.
Yes.
I can't thank Lionsgate enough for just even presenting that opportunity. I just felt as a director, and I've been a part of projects that have done 2 films together at once. And I can't think of one that was, and I'm not like a 1 and 2, but 3 and 4 or 5 and 6. Right. It just, at least for me, I don't know how I would do it. It just creatively, I don't know how to get my head around that. I think the greatest part is after each John Wick is I took 2 years off to go live and get better and do everything that we were just talking about, to travel, to read more, to get better. I don't know how to do a movie back to back and get better for the second one because they'll be released a year apart, right? So what you do is you'd see John Wick 4 and John Wick 4 Part B.
Right, because you'd be
same camera, same colors, same action, same style of choreography, same storylines. I had no time to be influenced by life and bring life back in, so I just thought it was kind of a cheat. Again, super grateful for that opportunity, and if it does come to fruition sometime in the future, I don't know what John Wick 5 is right now. I may have thoughts, we have ideas, fragments of stuff, but I think I need a little time to breathe and see how this one does, and see it all I see when I watch it are my mistakes and shortcomings, and coulda, woulda, shouldas. I should have been a better director here. I should have been better here. I just need time to process that, and then grow creatively and work my craft in probably some other fields, and take what I learn, and then maybe make something better than I've already done. I just hope, my biggest goal is you watch 1, you watch 2, you watch 3, you watch 4, and hopefully you love them all, but hopefully you see the evolution of me and the crew and I, my stunt team, Keanu, that we learned something. We tried to not make the same mistakes. We tried to get a little better, and we tried to expand in ways that are interesting. I
mean, every movie just blows my mind, and what you do with the action sequences and the cinematography is just so incredible. Now, Keanu Reeves has had many fantastic dance partners throughout his career, and especially here in John Wick. Is there anybody that he hasn't shared the screen with that you would love to be in the John Wick universe?
Oh, heaps. So many people. I mean, Keanu and I have a whole board of just people we'd love to work with. If you told me Cillian Murphy was going to be in a John Wick, I'd be like, oh my God, Cillian.
I'm a huge fan. Amazing.
I mean, if you told me Jackie Chan or Jet Li, you told me Jason Statham, all the people we work with. If you said Stallone was going to make a cameo, I'm a little bit old school, so dream list, Clint Eastwood's gonna make an appearance.
Tom Cruise doing his own.
And I'm Christian Bale or Chris Hemsworth or Hugh Jackman, Matt Damon, all these people that I love from we're friends with Jason Momoa, so to see I can't imagine a better antagonist than Jason Momoa coming in and giving you that look. Come on, these are all people we'd love to. Now whether that was in John Wick or another project, these are, come on, I'm a fanboy just like everybody else.
That's amazing.
If I could work with those people, I would.
Now, the Ballerina is set between John Wick 3 and 4. Why is that the right time for that? And what are you excited to explore beyond the John Wick Prime franchise?
Again, when we collectively thought Len Wiseman was going to be the director on Ballerina, I try to stay, and I mean this in the best of ways, I try to stay fairly hands-off. Len's great. He kind of came and he immersed himself in when we were posting John Wick 4 about our color palettes, our lenses, our whole attitude about action and all that stuff. And then, Len was incredibly collaborative and wanted to more. And it's just look, I think the best way to do this is to tell you everything I've done, to show you what I like. Sure. But I also want to take what you like and mix it all up and come up with something different. To make another just movie that had John Wick's footprint on it, I think that's very fine. But again, I think Len is super creative, and to let him put his own, authorship on what we've done is the way to do it. So I think it's awesome. I think the right team is there.
Right.
Between the stunt team, between Anna, the other cast that he's put together, Len and his team, I think that's the right way to go to see a different perspective on what we do.
You were Keanu Reeves' stunt double in The Matrix. And then you went on to direct one of his biggest franchises ever. Can you talk to me about the evolution of your guys' collaboration process?
It's interesting, you look back on it, and it's very easy to ask the question and go, back in 96. But at the time, it's just this piecemeal, serendipitous series of little events and meetings. We didn't know each other. We met in 1996. I came to do an audition for The Matrix. I was just a stunt guy. At the time, martial arts, the internet, cell phones weren't a big thing. I didn't know what I was going in for. I come to this warehouse in Burbank. I do an audition. It's for Keanu Reeves. We have similar body types and had that look. And I had a skill set that really wasn't used in Hollywood. I was a martial art acrobat kind of guy. And it just happened to fit the one weird movie that you needed a 6'1" martial art acrobat guy. So it kind of went into that. Cut to, 8 years later, we've gone through the Wachowski, tunnel of cinema.
Right.
The experience that has forever influenced us for our entire careers. And then it's, willy-nilly, we'd met on a couple little shows that he had done that I had doubled him on or stunt coordinated, and then we went our own ways, and I'm doing my second unit career, he's doing his career. And we'd bumped to each other. We hadn't really spoken for maybe a year or two, just maybe peripherally. But then, we bumped into each other just around town during these meetings things. And, it was literally less than like 2-3 weeks later, he says, hey, I have a script I bumped into. I'm interested in doing something very small and very unique. And, do you have any thoughts on it? Can I send it to you? I was like, sure. And he asked us if we would take a look at it for the action. Like, how can we make this fun? Because the action really wasn't written into Derek Kolstad's first draft. And I read it and go, oh, yeah. I mean, literally, I think like 2 people or 3 people died in the original.
Really?
It was in a car crash. It was very different kind of script. It had the world a little bit, but it was more of a covert Cold War world. And I'm a huge mythological or Greek mythology and Asian mythology fan. So I've always had this idea, like, how do you do a modern-day Lord of the Rings? How do you take mythology and put it into modern day? Because, we knew we were going to have the money for Blade Runner or Dune, and there is no way we were going to do a period piece with firearms. So how do you do that one, right? And then, it's part Le Samurai, part Lord of the Rings, part Matrix, part this, part that, part Zatoichi, part Wuja, part Chembara samurai film. And he's like, well, what? And I was like, well, look, we'll just do it like a Greek myth. There's Zeus on his mountain, John's a man, and it's the world of gods, and we'll never see this. And Keanu went, just was a little quiet for a second. He's like, okay, great. Let me call you back. And that was on a Friday night. And by Saturday, he's like, put together a pitch. I'm going to bring you guys into the Thunder Road, Basil Iwanek. On Monday, and I think we went on Monday, and we had this little videotape. We put together some gun food tests. And Basil saw it. And I'm sure he got on the phone as soon as I left going, okay, this is totally batshit crazy. Are you sure you want these guys? Ken went, yeah, I think this will work. And like literally it was that night we got the gig. So within 72 hours,
that's crazy.
John Wick had been put together. Now it was a matter of, okay, how do we execute and find the money and do all that kind of stuff.
It's incredible. Well, look, man, thank you so much for your time. Incredible journey, incredible film.
Thank you.
I can't thank you enough.